Welcome to Cosmic Channels. First episode of Season 8. I'm your host, Braden. This is your call-in show. I just host it. We're taking all your crazy, spooky calls of ghost stories, cryptid encounters, UFO sightings, whatever you got for us. The lines are open, 1-833-703-0424. That's 1-833-703-0424. And you know what? We actually already have a caller on the line, long-time caller, every-time caller, John Jacoby. What's going on, buddy?
Long-time listener. How's it going?
Good. Good, man. Well, as you heard, he was listen, the first call's the most important because I never know if anything's going to work or if it works. So, chat, let me know if you can hear John Jacoby.
Yeah, can you guys hear me all right?
It might be better if we can't, but we'll leave it to everyone else. John Jacoby, what do you got for us tonight?
Bro, I got the most intense story. Hey, wait a second. I want to make sure everybody can hear me first.
Yeah, I think
Can everybody hear me?
I think everyone can hear you.
Can hear fine? Okay. Listen, I got an amazing story for you. I've been building this story up to tell you. Whew, okay. I mean, this is like 10 years coming, okay?
Yep.
So, I was out in my parents' woods, and I look up, and blow your mind what I seen. So I look up, and I seen...
John Jacoby, everyone. Lines are open, just like that. You want to be the first call of the night, Season 8. Give me a call, 1-833-703-0424. And that'll, you can be the first call of Season 8. Classic, John Jacoby there. He's gonna get the cosmic ban here pretty soon. Gonna block that number. I've got them all written down. Yeah, we're looking for our first call of Season 8. If you want to support the show, you're looking to support the show, you want to help run ads on Cosmic Channels, streamlabs.com/CosmicChannels/tip, or just scan the little QR code if you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, or Facebook. And those are the best places to watch. We're no longer on... alien theorist pages, so we're Cosmic Channels is now left the nest, and we're learning to fly. I was trying to have a test with John Jacoby, but I think his phone was real issue, so I have a feeling the next call is going to absolutely blow my eardrums off, and then I'll have to adjust the volume accordingly. I don't know why. I thought I have all the followed and subscriber notifications turned off, so it was a little strange to me that went off. But if we don't have a call, lines are open. Give me a call, 1-833-703-0424. As we're waiting for the first call of the night, let's listen to a fan-read submission from Brody from Fandoms.
My name is Renee. I'm 20 years old from rural Minnesota, and I only recently started listening to the podcast. I have a few personal experiences I'd like to share with you guys, involving both aliens and ghosts. And I have a feeling that this will turn out to be a long email, so strap yourselves in, boys. Well, Renee, I'm sorry, but you got me, and you're gonna have to deal with that. Sorry to let you down. UFO encounters. First, I'd like to start off by saying that I live in the middle of nowhere in Minnesota, and the sky is absolutely beautiful here, especially on a clear night. The first experience I remember having with a UFO happened when I was probably around 10 years old, give or take a couple years. It was late at night, and my best friend and I were laying on my trampoline, looking up at the sky, and suddenly, we saw these weird lights showing up in the sky above us. It was shaped like 3 white lights, in a triangular shape, like a Foo Fighter, I guess? It was moving slowly and silently, and after a minute or two, it stopped and hovered above us for a while. I couldn't tell how big it was or how far away it was, but it seemed pretty far. The lights, I think I remember, were about 2 or 3 times as big as the stars. It stayed above us for a few minutes, and suddenly it zipped away. That shit had us freaking out all night long. Another strange thing happened back when I was 12. I had this strange series of dreams where aliens would take me on their ship, and they'd do some tests and introduce me to these alien-human hybrid things. I don't remember exactly, but I remember when I was having these dreams, I was obsessed with drawing what I saw. It would be nice to find some of those drawings, but I think my mom probably threw them away. I have countless instances of lost time throughout my life as well. I've heard that might be signs of abduction, and maybe these dreams are actually memories? I don't know, but honestly, I think that's probably bullshit. They're probably just dreams. On the off chance I was abducted though, that'd be pretty cool. Ghostly encounters. That's about it for aliens, I guess. So, on to the ghosts. I have maybe 3 stories I can remember right now. The first one happened when I was probably 14 or 15. Again, pretty young. Summer just started and I was home alone with my dog and cat when suddenly there was this voice I heard coming from behind me. It sounded like a little girl. She said something like, and I turned around to see if someone was there, but I didn't see anyone. My dog went running to where the voice came from, her tail wagging because she probably thought somebody wanted to take her for a walk or something. She got to the living room and her mood started to change almost instantly. She started barking and growling at the wall behind me. Even my cat was hissing. It took a while for all 3 of us to calm down. There were other instances at that house that I can remember, but they're easily debunked, like cold spots, footsteps, scratch marks, etc. The next story is one that creeps me out the most. I get shivers whenever I think about it. It was in my senior year of high school, and I was going to this boarding school in Minneapolis. So I was living in a dorm. I just want to point out that the building used to be a Lutheran college, I think. It was incredibly old, and I know of at least 1 murder there, and a few attempted at least suicides. I'm not sure if any of them were successful though. A few of my friends and my roommate decided they wanted to try out the Ouija board. I was too scared to participate in the actual using of the board, so I was made the official rule keeper and safety person to keep things as safe as possible. They do this with the board every night for about a week, in my dorm. We've got a salt circle and everything. Everyone sits inside the circle, and I'm on my bed looking at safety precautions and stuff. They make contact throughout the week, a few times. Some of the spirits are pretty normal, a few are kind of mean, and 1 or 2 claim to be a demon, but I'm not convinced. They've got to be moving it or something, or collective consciousness or whatever. But it's all fun and games until the last night. They decided they wanted to make contact with someone that one of us knew was dead. So everyone's making suggestions, grandparents, stuff like that. And then my roommate tells everyone that my parents are dead, which they are. Both of my parents had died when I was about 2 weeks old in a car accident. Before I can say anything, the planchette starts moving. Not on its own, of course. Everyone's fingers were still on the board. It spells out D-A-D. They ask the board if it was my dad responding, and it goes straight to yes. The spirit or whatever says it can't stay long. I think I remember reading somewhere that a spirit interacting with the board too long becomes attached to it. The spirit basically just told me it loved me, was proud of me, and wished it was still alive and stuff. And I'm crying. I want to believe it was him, but honestly, it could have been anything. The next spirit was terrifying. I don't remember much of what happened, but I remember the group ended up thinking I was possessed. I was zoned out or something? I don't know. I would ask those friends, if I could, but I recently had a falling out with the only one I still had any contact with. I might try and find one of them later on, but I'm trying to get this email out before I go to work. I don't know if it's a real thing or not, or it's just something from that show Supernatural, but one of the girls looked me in the eyes and said the word Cristo, which apparently I flinched at. Cristo is Jesus' name or something. The show said that, but it wasn't, Renee. Sorry to break it to you. Well, it is, but not in the language they said. Don't be taking your advice from Supernatural, girl. That show is fiction. Where was I? They tested it a few times on me, and I didn't feel like I was flinching or anything, but according to them, I did. So they all got freaked out. Another friend of mine thought it would be a good idea to get her healing crystal necklace. So they put this necklace on me, and it burns my neck, and it hurt like hell. Then there was a mark, a red line, there for days after. I'm not allergic to anything, no kinds of metals or whatever. so the burn was pretty surprising. I used to have pictures, but that was so long ago I lost. Later that night, I go down to the dining room to eat. My friend comes up to me and tells me I have this dark aura coming off of me. He asks me if I'm okay. He's a Native American dude and very spiritual. This is right after the incident, so I don't think one of the girls had told him what had happened yet. So I tell him the story, and he's terrified. He holds up his cross necklace. Wait. I thought he was a spiritual Native American. Is he a spiritual Native American, or is he whitewashed? Come on, Renee. I need accurate information here. I flinch again, apparently, but I don't feel it. He says some prayer or something, and that's that. Another friend of mine at school who is very spiritual or religious, which one is it, Renee? Wouldn't come near me for almost a week after seeing me the next day. She didn't even know what had happened, but she felt the energy. I got her to come around after a week or two to try and cleanse my dorm and myself. Nothing had really happened with my apparent possession or whatever since then, so whatever it was is either gone or dormant, or maybe wasn't even there in the first place. A couple of weeks after that, the school staff heard about the use of Ouija boards in the dorms, and not only with me and my friend, but apparently a few other groups were using them as well. There were signs posted everywhere banning Ouija boards from the school. LOL. The last quick thing I wanted to say was last summer, I worked in a place in Owatonna, Minnesota called the West Hills. It used to be an orphanage that burned down in 1930-ish. I can't remember how many kids died there, but I know it was a lot. I worked in the basement there all summer, where I seen shadowy figures walking or heard footsteps. Okay, well, this email got long. Sorry, LOL. I hope you find my stories interesting, though. I'm off to go listen to more Cosmic Channels. Keep up the great work. Thanks, Renee. Well, Renee, thanks for writing in. It's been awesome getting to come on here and read your story. Thanks a lot to the boys from ATT and Cosmic Channels here for having me on. It's been a blast. Thanks to Braden for coming on to my show for episode 20 and chatting about me with UFOs. Love to have the rest of the guys on sometime too. And if anybody out there's listening, hit me up at pod.fandoms@gmail.com if you want to come on and talk about whatever you're a fan of. If you don't hate the sound of my voice as much as I do, come check me out on Fandoms with Brody Otway on all your major podcast providers.
And if you don't feel comfortable calling into Cosmic Channels yourself, you can always write in your story to CosmicChannelsPodcast@gmail.com. You'll never know who might end up reading it. Hopefully someone better than me.
Woo! Just like that. Nice little story. Thank you for Brody from Fandoms for reading that. Go check out his podcast and listen. If you got a cool, amazing interest that you love, he'll have you on. He'll have you on the show to talk about it. He loves talking to people that have incredible stories. But we got a caller on the line. We got ourselves Dan from Smithers. What's going on?
Hey, buddy.
What do you got for us tonight?
I got a alien abduction story.
Oh, love it. Let's hear it.
So this guy, he used to work in those, what do you call them, lookout towers. So before they had like plane spotters and whatever, people man those old towers up on the mountains. And he used to sit in one of those for months on end. So, like, I knew of this guy, and I always wanted to talk to him. Like, oh, that guy's seen aliens for sure. Like, he has to have some sort of story, right?
Yeah.
So I finally, I was out driving kind of where he lives. I worked for the highways, and I didn't actually know what he looks like, but I saw this guy, like, hobbling down the road, like, with poles and wearing a funky sweater, and I was like, oh, that's got to be the guy for sure. So I befriended him, and started chatting him up, and he wouldn't, I think he's had his own encounters that he didn't want to let on to, but he did give me, he wouldn't give me any of his own. Oh yeah, I should give you some backstory. Okay. So I heard a rumor, this guy used to be a teacher, and I heard a rumor that he used to say he was half alien. So that's why I was fascinated in this guy. It's like, oh, I gotta talk to this guy.
Yeah, of course. 100%.
Sorry, that was a crucial part of the story that I totally forgot. But yeah, he used to be a substitute teacher. The word on the street was he claimed he's half alien. And so I'm like, okay, I got to meet him, get a story for the boys. So anyway, so I'm talking to this guy, and he wouldn't give me any of his own stories, but he said he used to work with a guy who said he got picked up by a craft, taken to like another mountain, and dropped off, and it took him like all night to hike home apparently. And unfortunately, I couldn't get like a lot of detail out of this story. Like, that's kind of the gist of it. But the other part, like, apparently he came to the old Bulkley Inn. It's like this famous pub in town here. And he just like a TV show, he busts in the pub and he's like ranting and raving about what had happened to him. And of course, like, everyone just wrote him off as a crazy person. But I don't know, man. So yeah, so I gotta find this guy. Like, he's a local guy. He might still be around. So
he's just
I'm
like a
gonna try
local
and,
legend in Smithers as someone who's like an abductee.
Sorry, say that again.
He's just like a local legend in Smithers.
He's not a local legend. I don't think many people have heard this story, but like, you think he would be a local legend, but it's a small enough town where, like, sooner or later I should be able to figure out who that guy was.
Yeah, you figure. I've been to Smithers once or twice, so it's like, I feel like that would be like, you definitely could track down someone who knows him and hear about it.
But I'm definitely gonna try and kindle a friendship with this old guy, because I know he's got more. It's hard to break into those conversations. Like, you know, you gotta kind of take it slow. You can't just pull over and be like, hey man,
yeah,
have you seen aliens?
Yeah.
Then you kind of look like the weirdo.
It's
I mean, I try anyway, but
yeah, it's I mean, I would do the same. I mean, you gotta get him. You got, one, nail him down, get a story, and then two, convince him to call in and share it.
well, yeah, absolutely.
That's your
But
homework.
I think he's guarded because I think he was like pretty open about his stuff back in the day, and then I think he got wrote off as the crazy guy. So I think he's pretty guarded. But if you drive by his house, he's got like, you know, like Bigfoot statues and all this weird stuff. His house is like designed like a giant like shoe, and he's just a really funny guy. And guarantee, like, I bet he's seen Bigfoot for sure. And who knows, maybe he is part alien. But I'm gonna work on it and I try and dig up some more stories. Oh yeah, there is one more story. Sorry.
Yeah, that's it.
So this other story I had was another feller. Sorry, do I have time for one more?
Oh yeah, of course.
Quick one. Okay, so this other story I had. So the guy, he'd been out a long time, you know, so you can kind of write this off as delirium or whatever, and very plausible. But he's laying in his bed at night, and all of a sudden, so there's these, I don't know if you've ever been in one of those fire lookouts, but they have these like wires that run along the top interior of them, and it's like, I think it's something to do with stabilization. I think it's how they anchor, because there's like 4 cables that anchor to the ground outside.
Yeah.
Anyway, he looks up and he sees like electricity, like visible electricity, like running through these lines. And apparently, like, something in him just made him like want to grab it, right? I'd probably do the same thing, even though it's crazy.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
so I guess,
or like instant death.
Well, yeah. Well, I remember like swimming in Mexico for the first time and seeing like all these beautiful creatures, and I was just like swam down. It was like a sea urchin, and I just like reached like right for it. And my brother's like, "What are you doing? Just don't touch it." I was just like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, so maybe something like that. So he grabs the hold of this thing, and then all of a sudden he starts like getting all these visions, like where he was, there was an old silver mine like in the mountain, like an old tunnel.
Okay, yeah.
And he says like he could like see the miners like digging into the mountain, and he could like hear like the mountain screaming as they like burrowed in. And I don't know, I think that's all I can remember of that story, but it was kind of cool, and I forget what it's called, but it is a real phenomenon when you can like actually see electricity like that. And well, I don't know, this guy was telling me this, and I wish I could remember what he called this phenomenon, seeing this visible electricity, but
Well, like maybe I'm like ball lightning, but not really. Like I don't know what kind of phenomenon that would be. That's so strange. And it didn't kill him, so like.
yeah. So yeah, sorry, it's kind of short, and
That's all good, man.
But-
I like it. It's a weird thing. Maybe someone else has seen something like that and knows exactly what it is.
yeah, true, exactly. But yeah, I'll try and get this guy again and dig a little deeper, because yeah, I'm sure he's got some gems.
Beauty. Well, let us know when you get a hold of him, and call back in and give us an update.
Sounds good.
All right. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, have a good night.
Bye. Listen, every town's got like some sort of local legend or a guy with a crazy nickname who has been abducted or has seen ghosts or seen something. So if you know one of those legends and stuff, call in. I want to hear it. I want to hear your town's like local legend. But just like that, the lines are open. I saw someone was on hold, so maybe they're still there. If not, there they are. Let's go right to the call. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brother, it is Tyler Hall from West Bygott, Virginia.
What's going on?
What's going on with you, buddy?
Oh man, just taking calls, chilling
Crushing
here,
it.
having some drinks. That's about
Hell
it.
yeah.
What's new with you?
Hell right.
How's the fundraising going for these documentaries?
It's good, man. We wrapped up. We finished with 125% funded or something like that.
Right on.
Something crazy. We raised sorry, excuse me. I'm doing secret shit.
I hear
we
you.
raised over like $120,000 or something.
Right on.
Yeah, so it was really, really well received, and yeah. Anyway,
Good.
not trying to advertise.
No, I want. Give the people a little snippet about what you were raising what were you raising funds for?
Yeah, so I work for a production company called Small Town Monsters. We direct high strangeness, phenomena, cryptid movies, and you can find us on pretty much every streaming platform. Small Town Monsters. So if you're into cryptid documentaries, we're a pretty large scale production company that makes high quality cryptid stuff.
Yeah, go check it out. And what do you got for us tonight?
Sorry, buddy, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, I was just going to say, go check it out, and if you got it, what do you got for us tonight as for a story?
Well, I encountered a witch the other week, and it was horrifying. And I don't know how PC I have to be. Is the show still like kind of whatever? Like we can kind of tell crazy stories?
Oh, of course. Yeah. There's
All right, hell yeah.
It's not for kids.
Let me get this straight. Are you guys?
It's not for
so you
fucking
guys
kids.
Just making sure, dude. I didn't want to come on here and be like, this fucking witch grabbed my dick,
No, it's
because that's where it's going.
all right. No, it's that works.
All right, cool. And did you guys split up? Like, I know you didn't split up, but like, so Cosmic Channel's its own thing now, and it's just Instagram, or what's it streaming on now?
Streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Kick. You just got to search Cosmic Channels.
Okay, sweet.
We're trying to spread the net of content we do.
Yeah. Makes sense. That's badass, man. I'm stoked for you guys. Always crushing it.
So let's
Oh,
hear
you
about
wanna hear this witch?
Yeah,
this
I want
crazy
to.
witch?
Yeah. I want to hear all about this dick grabbing witch. And where does she live? What's her address?
Okay, so, dude, she would 100% be down for old Braden, but I don't know if she can handle the hog. All right, so check it out. We're in. Let's put us in western northern Virginia. Okay.
Yeah.
We're at this town. I'm not going to name places. I don't want to give my location out. But we're in this. I mean, think of it as super rural, almost European setting, British Isles maybe, kind of Irish. Kind of looks like Ireland. So we're in northern western Virginia, and we're in the country hills of this rural area. Okay. There's a little, somewhat of a bar, it's an apple cidery called Appalachia. If you look that up, you can find exactly where I'm talking about. But anyway, Appalachia, and it's not a it's not your typical business. It's kind of like whoever wants to come, however long we want to stay open. We've got like 6 different ciders on tap, and they bring in a bunch of local people who play music. You could bring your own guitar and pick with these people. It's just kind of like just this real loosely run business, but it's very welcoming and warm, right?
Yeah.
So my old lady and I, my girlfriend, we go to Appalachia. We're having a few drinks, having a good time. We're with another buddy of mine, and he's picking guitar with these guys, these musicians. Everything's fine. Well, I start getting on the cider a little too much, man. And this shit like varies in alcohol percentage. You could get like a 4% cider 1 second, and then you go to get the same one, and then it's like a 16% cider. This shit just varies left and right.
Well,
so I start getting a little
cider's wild. Like, let's be real.
Oh,
here.
dude,
you'd be like,
what?
I'm gonna have 5 beers. You're totally fine. You have 5 ciders, and you're like, you call an ambulance.
You're fucked.
Yeah.
Exactly, dude. And then you're gonna get the sugar or diabetes because it's so rich with sugar.
Oh yeah, you're dead the next day.
Yeah. Oh, it was awful. So, and they also make mead there, which is pretty cool. So it's like a very European setting. It's an old mill, and it was like stone foundation, stone walls, that kind of thing. So it's like already kind of a weird setting, but it was a good vibe. So I'm still crushing these ciders. My girlfriend, this is like midnight at this point. I think we got there like 8. She's like, all right, I'm going to the vehicle. I'm going to go hang out in the vehicle, and you guys have fun. I'm going to take a little nap and then just come out. Don't be too much longer. She was super cool about us kind of getting shit-faced, right?
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, tight. Well, there's this middle-aged woman in there, right? She's got, think of Cleopatra, but if Cleopatra... I'm so sorry. Think about Cleopatra, she gained like 200 pounds, okay?
Yeah.
And so she got this short little bob Cleopatra haircut, but she's a white woman. And I'm like, okay, this lady's kind of weird. But anyway, I'm drinking these ciders. I'm totally shit-faced at this point. I wind up in this next room with this woman. I don't know where I'm at. And she's holding my hands, okay? So I'm like, this is weird. What is going on? My buddy Dylan's like in the next room, like having a good time talking to other people. I'm getting held by this Cleopatra woman. I'm like, what the hell? And I couldn't like talk to her. It was weird. And she starts speaking in tongues, okay? I'm like, what the hell is going on? So she's holding my hand. She's like rubbing my hands, speaking in these tongues. And she goes, ask me anything you want. I'll tell you anything. I'll tell you anything you want. I said, I couldn't talk really. She goes, I know that you love the beach. You love North Carolina. You love the Outer Banks. You vacation there every year. And that's like a true statement. I've never met this woman in my life. My buddy did not know her at all. And I don't know any of these people. It was the first time I've ever been to this place. Okay? Yeah. So she's telling me this thing that's very accurate. And, it's kind of, I could say that's kind of obscure, but it was like I felt like it was very accurate that she knew this. And she goes, I can tell you anything you want to know. I can tell you anything you want to know. Like rubbing my hands and shit, dude. And I said, I don't want to know anything, Like I don't want to. I didn't feel comfortable with this woman.
Yeah, you should ask when is this encounter over?
What is it?
When is this encounter over? That's what you should ask.
Yeah. No shit. Like, could you please stop touching me? So she's like rubbing my hands and speaking more of this, like I said, like speaking in tongues almost, or like Latin language that I can't understand. And I said, I don't know why I said this, but I said, you're very seductive. And she, I'm not shitting you, dude, grabs my dick. And I went, okay. And I like sobered up in that moment. I ran out of there. I said, you're a demonic witch. And I ran out of that place. I hopped in the car with my girlfriend. I said, that Cleopatra woman just grabbed my dick. And we drove the fuck home.
That's weird. But she was spot on prior to that.
Dude, she was spot on, dude. And there's another thing she was saying. I don't really want to get like too into it, but she was talking about a buddy of mine who had committed suicide not too long ago. A few years ago, he had committed suicide, and she was talking about that shit too. And she said his name, and it was weird, dude.
That's weird. What's your take on that? Like, what's your take on this?
I don't know, man. I was so fucked up that it's like, it's a story that I wouldn't feel super comfortable just sharing with anybody because I don't think many people would believe me because I was so fucked up.
Yeah.
But it felt so real in the moment. Something did happen. I know that. but I was also incredibly intoxicated. So it's
Yeah.
like, you know, it's one of those things. I wish it would have been a sober experience, but maybe the experience would never have happened if I was sober. So I don't know, just strange.
Maybe you wouldn't have been as easily led into a back room.
Yeah,
if you were
dude,
sober.
getting rubbed down by this pagan Cleopatra woman, this pagan Egyptian.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the most recent thing I've experienced.
And it's the hitting. It's like, because I know some people are skilled at like doing those, like they can read you and they do generalizations and they can kind of get you hooked, right? And I'm like, part of me like is wondering, because you were so intoxicated, I wonder if it was a little of that and you were just like,
sure,
you were,
yeah, it
you
just
didn't
feels like she's bullshitting and she's like
Yeah.
hinting on things that like almost everyone has the same experiences. Like, who doesn't like the beach?
yeah,
You know?
yeah. Someone goes, "You like the beach?"
But it
I'm
was like
yeah.
Yeah, hell, fuck yeah, I like the beach. She's like, and you love cider. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
I guess I do.
As
I'm
it's
fucked
all,
up on it.
yeah, as you're barely standing and your shirt's covered in spilt cider, yeah, and your breath probably
Right.
smelled like it too. You're like, holy shit, I do love cider.
You're not wrong. Holy shit.
That's 2
Next
for
morning,
2.
I call her ass up. I'm like, I fucking hate cider. I'll let you know that right now.
It'd be interesting to go back and see if she's there, and then to be like, hey, are you some sort of?
I was
what's going
thinking
on
that
here?
too, but I think my girl would whoop her ass.
Oh yeah. Well, she would, but listen, that's a good test too, because she would see it coming.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. Little 1, 2. You know.
Yeah, she'd see it coming. So
But
interesting.
well, thank you for having me, brother, and keep up the good work. You guys rule. And
No worry,
anything I can do over on my end, you let me know.
Well, you keep me posted when some of your docs are coming out, so we can we'll have you.
I
on
will,
and
man.
talk
We
about
just
them.
we're distributing that Okopogo movie,
Oh.
First Waters. It should be out sometime in the summer.
Right on. You guys didn't even hit up your
Yeah.
boys for some experiences.
Dude, I don't think they. I just joined them in
Yeah.
July, and they had already filmed the Okopogo movie, and I don't think they even know alien theorizing. So I'm starting to turn them on to you guys.
Interesting.
Maybe a collab in the future.
Yeah, I will. Well, keep me posted, and next time you guys are in the Pacific Northwest area, you let us know.
For sure. Thanks, Braden.
All right. Take care of yourself.
Be good, brother.
Bye. You got a local witch lives in your town, or you've seen someone doing witchcraft or had any experience with that. Colin, I want to hear your stories. I want to hear your tales of it. Ways to support the show. Listen, you go buy. Lines are hot. Lines take priority. Let's go right to the caller. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, long time listener.
What's going on? Lines are back open. If you want to support the show, streamlabs.com/CosmicChannels/tip, or you can scan that QR code or head to the store crowdmade.com/collections/CosmicChannels. Buy yourself a shirt. Support the show. It all goes to the show. We all put it towards all the ads. Let's go to a call. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Corey Treverson from the Sunnyvale Trailer Park. How's it going, man?
Good. How's Corey Treverson going?
Ah, shit. All right, dude.
What do you got for us tonight?
I have a secondhand UFO encounter.
I love it. Let's get right to it. Let's hear it.
All right. So this is actually my mom's UFO encounter from the late 1980s. So we live in Ontario, and this was in like a more rural part. Like I'm talking in the 80s.
Hold on. Are you actually? Hold on. Are you actually from Sunnyvale Trailer Park?
Oh, son of a gun! My family goes back. We moved in.
I didn't know we had royalty here.
Well, come on. It's Cosmic Channels. This is your show.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to it. So your mom's UFO story from the 80s. I want to hear it.
Yeah. So she was in out in the sticks driving with her friend, and to set the scene, it's the county, middle of the night, somewhere around midnight. she's out on these dirt roads in her old Firebird because, you know, she was cool.
Yeah.
And they saw this bright light in the sky that just got brighter and brighter and brighter until it filled the whole car. And her friend turned to her and goes, "What in the fuck is that?" And then they both blacked out.
Ooh.
They woke up in the car 4 hours later on the side of the road. They just stared at each other, and she said that they were kind of in shock. They didn't know what to say. They didn't talk about it. Her friend was like pale and saying, "I don't want to talk about this. Just bring me home." So she brought her friend home. She went home, and at the time, you know, she has no reason to make it up. She was with a very abusive partner who obviously thought that she was out for other reasons. Definitely was not buying a UFO story.
Yeah.
But for years, she and her friends, like for the next few years, they would joke around once they were able to talk about it a bit more. And she'd say like, "Oh, I don't know, maybe I've got like a hybrid baby out there." And then when a few years later, when she got pregnant from me, it was really funny. Nobody believed her that she was pregnant at first because there was no roof on the house. My parents were doing renovations and actually sleeping under the stars. So like the jokes throughout her pregnancy and during birth was that she had an alien baby. So that's my mom's UFO encounter. She's never gone for regressive hypnosis. She doesn't have any memories. She said that it just approached the bright light approached them, filled the car, they blacked out, and woke up 4 hours later. That's it.
That's so wild. Like no reoccurring nightmares, nothing like that. Just literally just the light missing time.
Well, a couple years after that, she had a massive brain aneurysm. So she doesn't really remember, like that time period is a fuzzy for her to begin with, and she doesn't really remember dreams anymore. So I'm not sure, but I can keep asking her. Something might pop up. Yeah. You never know.
I mean, now does she? Does she feel like that is maybe linked to this experience at all, or is it just does she keep that separate? Or like, is it like it's just such a weird thing? Like, how much has this affected her?
Yeah, it's something where, like growing up, she would mention it every now and then. So like clearly it had an impact and she remembered it. But when I asked her again more recently about it, she said that it was just so scary that they decided to never talk about it. But you know, I had never thought about the aneurysm and that being connected, but the friend that she was with, she now also has brain damage where she's losing the fluid on her brain. So I don't know.
Interesting, weird. That's kind of a weird connection that they both have. You know, these issues. I mean, is it maybe a coincidence? Maybe, but like they also both had this unexplainable event happen to them. Now, like from your experience, like when you talk to her, like how is she? Like what's the vibe you get from her? Like, is this something that terrified her? Like how do you feel when you talk to her?
Well, it's a little bit hard to gauge because, to be fair, my mom is very spiritual. Like, her family growing up, her mother would go into trances and speak in tongues, and my mom's always had like a belief in the supernatural. So for her, she's like, yeah, this was scary, but I've got like 30 other scary stories too. So she's just kind of like that.
Yeah. Well, that was going to be my follow-up question. Like, did this experience, like, you know, change her beliefs or change how she, you know, kind of carried her life?
Like a little bit, because I know her brother was very much into Star Trek and aliens and all of that. And she wasn't really that fascinated, but after this experience, she started doing more research. Like, she didn't go in hard and heavy, because like I said, she was cool, but she did get more interested in aliens after, yeah.
Yeah, it's that's so fascinating. That and her friend, same. How was her friend after this?
Not totally. I'd say not totally all there. Like, she was always a little bit off after, but I didn't know her before, so I can't say if she was always like that.
Oh, that's so creepy. And this was in Northern Ontario, you said?
I'd say like Middle Ontario.
Middle Ontario in mid 80s.
Late 80s, yeah.
It's just so it's such a strange occurrence. It I've heard so many very similar tales. I think her name's Karina Sables. Pops into my mind of telling a story like this where they're just driving and it's like boom, lights out, lights back on, and they're like, what happened? Where are what time is it? It's such a fascinating thing because if it was one person, I'd say maybe you could chalk it up to some sort of blackout spell or like a seizure, or maybe there's some sort of medical underlying situation. But for two people to have that experience and then go on and have different issues with their brain later in life is kind of to me, I'm just like, it's kind of an interesting connection between those experiences. If she ever gives you more, please send in and call in and let me know.
Oh, absolutely. If I can ever get her to call in and tell her side firsthand, because I remember her saying that she doesn't remember the car turning off. She doesn't remember pulling over to the side of the road and parking. She said it was just in the middle of driving, snap, and then wakes up just parked on the side on the road, absolutely fine.
That is just wild. So it's that's an abduction story. That's the stereotypical, everything that is a precursor. The only difference is she has no memory of what transpired during those 4 hours where she was gone. Anything when she got back, disheveled, or just exact same, no noticeable.
Exact same everything.
Weird, you just a long blink, and you're just where did all that time go?
Yeah, 4 hour long blink.
Yeah, quite wild. Thank you so much for calling in and sharing that. I hope, if you can convince her, I would love to have her on. And if this time doesn't work for her and she wants to tell the story to get it out there, shoot me an email, CosmicChannelsPodcast@gmail.com. I can make some flexible times to get that firsthand account. If she would like to share it, I would love to hear it.
Hell yeah, I'll let her know, man.
Perfect.
Well, hey, thanks so much for giving me a space to share. You're doing a great job on Cosmic Channels, and Sunnyvale strong, brother.
Thanks for listening. Take care of yourself.
You too. Have a good night, man.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I mean, those are stories I love. Just straight up missing time. I mean, listen, we're not saying aliens on that one, but aliens, right? Those are the ones where you're missing, just you black out and you come to, and all this time's missing. 4 hours. That's not an insignificant amount of time. It's not like you had a 15-minute cat nap. And when you had someone in the car with you, it's wild. So if you've got an abduction story or you've got a missing time story, call into Cosmic Channels, 1-833-703-0424. I want to hear it. We got a call on the line. Let's go to the caller. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is John the Cut Jacoby.
What's going on? How many times are you going to call me? We got it on speed dial or what? You got 8 numbers?
Well, it doesn't matter. Okay. Hey, but I just want everybody to know next week I'm going to have a great story. Braden's going to post some pictures up of my story. Braden knows what I'm talking about.
I haven't seen it yet. So
I have
you've
photo
told me.
proof of something that happened to me that was totally unexplainable, like glitch in the matrix, and I have photo proof. I'm telling you.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing it next week. Hey, thank you for the donation to Cosmic Channels. I see it. I don't know why
no
both
are we
went
still
through.
Guessing what's in the box or what's going on?
No, I
there?
totally forgot.
Nobody has guessed.
You know what? I totally forgot, and I also don't. I have the light on in the back room, so if I flip to that camera, it'll show the box, and it'll give it away too much. So hold on, I don't even think you can see it now. Well, maybe. Can you? No. I don't want to. I don't want to give it. I can't. I can't keep it quick. Have a quick look. But you can guess next week when you tell a story, and we'll see you next week, John Jacoby. Peace out. Gotcha, bitch. You got a story or you want to call in? You nervous? Don't be. We'll walk through it. It's not a This is a nice space to share these experiences. So whatever you got, don't be scared to call in 1-833-703-0424, long or short. We want it all here on Cosmic Channels. But if you're too nervous to call in, as I've been in the past and other people experience that, you can always write in your story to CosmicChannelsPodcast@gmail.com. Let's go to the caller. Call online. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
ATT. I'm Hugo. I'm calling from Los Angeles.
What's going on, man?
Hey, man. I love your podcast, man. I've been listening to it, bench watching it, man.
Good. I'm glad you enjoy it. How'd you find it?
Because I was looking up UFOs and then I got really scared. Yet I was laughing with the AI podcast and the Moffat family.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, those were good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Moffat family demon. Yeah. That's a good one.
And that's close by too, in Rancho Cucamonga.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was calling because of a ghost story.
Oh.
I experienced. Yeah.
Good. I want to see it. Hold on. Before you say it, before you get going, let me set the mood here. I'll get a nice spooky. There we go. All right, let's hear this ghost story.
All right. So I was in middle school, and at that time that house was haunted. I mean, I had my friends over, and the door would open, and they would get scared. And I'll be like, oh, that's just Casper, don't trip. And even my brother saw that the Hatman shadow and sat right next to him. But my story is it was during summertime, summer vacation, and so I decided to do my my homework at the end of summer vacation.
Yep.
Proper time to do it, and I was doing it. And I remember feeling a hot sensation to my left side. I was on the computer, and then I turn around, and I see the antenna from the TV just moved. But I was used to the activity,
Like so.
And I wasn't.
You said you felt like a heat?
I felt something warm. Usually you feel something cold. This time I felt something warm, hot, like it kind of burned on my left side, but I made nothing of it. And so I continue. I ended up going to the restroom, and it was back in the 90s. So I was, doing number 2, reading the shampoo bottle.
Yeah.
And again, I felt something. And back then we used to have a walk-in closet, and my mom had a big, heavy drape at the door. And when I turn around, and the restroom door is closed. And the walk-in closet is by the door. I remember the bottom left corner, it picked up, but the right side, it didn't move. Usually that happens because when you're gonna walk in, you just move one side,
Yeah.
But if there's a draft, the whole drape moves. But it was just one side, like somebody just quickly ran in. And oh man, and I was taking a dump, and I knew I had to go through that door to get out. I quickly washed my hands, and I just ran.
Yeah.
And but that wasn't over, and all that happened in the same day. And then I continued doing my homework. I was in the computer, and then this time the doors started opening and shutting, bam, 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 like crazy. And I quickly looked at the window to see if it was a draft or something. A split second, I saw that, and I'm like, oh, maybe it's a draft. And the window was closed, so the heat wouldn't come in because it was summertime.
Yeah.
And I just ran out. I just panicked, and I ran right through the door. because that was the only way out. And my mom was there, and I guess she saw the fear in me or something, and she started screaming at the ghost, "You better stop scaring my son, or else I'm gonna put you to clean." And I swear, as soon as she said that, it just stopped.
Jesus.
And yeah, that was my. I was scared, man.
Man, so I got a question here. So, like, your mom yells at this thing, it just kind of stops. Your mom a spiritual person, like, at all? Like, is she like a believer in the supernatural?
Well, I mean, she's seen stuff. I'm telling you, this house was active. I mean, everybody has stories. Like my brother saw that famous shadow.
Yeah.
With the hat, with the tall guy with the hat, and he sat on the bed. And my brother said he felt it, so he moved his legs to make room for him. And then when he woke up, he asked people, and there was nobody. And I mean, that house, people have seen stuff. So my mom, I guess she was used to it, but she saw me terrified. I was terrified. I wasn't thinking. I was just running, and she started screaming at it, and it just stopped.
It's so weird because I'm like, part of me wonders if, like, what jumps into my head is, I go, does this, whatever this thing is that's kind of torturing you or trying to scare you, does it have some like connection to your mom where it respects her enough to listen, or do you think that like maybe this thing is just fearful of your mom because it knows that like if it fucks around too much, it's gonna find out, like your mom's gonna bring some sage and exorcise some goddamn demons in that house? Like, those are kind of the two thoughts that pop into my head.
Probably not.
Right?
I think it was something evil, because usually if it's a ghost, you feel something cold, but I felt something burning me. I remember I was even after that, I was just laying on the floor trying to cool down because my body was burning, and I think it was just feeding out of my fears or something. I don't know.
That's such a strange one to feel, that burning. Like that's such a unique experience, because normally it's everyone gets the chills.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just...
and we were used to having. I never seen a ghost, but I saw stuff move, like the restroom door. It was normal. It would open by itself. And I would have friends over, and they'll be sitting there next to me. We'll be by the computer, and then it would open on them, and they would jump. They'll be scared. They're like, "There's nobody there." And but that time, it's just I felt something bad.
Yeah, that's such a wild encounter, because it's like all in like a span of in one night, right?
It wasn't on the daytime.
During the day? Oh, I thought it was getting into the night, like during the day. Oh my goodness.
It was during the daytime. Those three things happened.
Oh, in my head, I was picturing them at nighttime. Oh my God.
No.
I mean, holy! How do you go to sleep in that house after that?
Well, I know my mom, after that, she got holy water, because we're Catholic, and she brought it and she sprayed it all over the house, and she put a cross by our bed.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what you're talking about. That ghost fucked around and then found out. Your mom was like, "All right, well, if you're not going to be respectful, I'm going to put up some deterrents here." Now there's some people in the chat asking. One of the questions is, did you notice any smell besides the maybe your own number 2 that you took?
No. It's just that you felt this warm sensation, and then you turn and you would see it, like I'm telling you, that drape. It really looked like if a little kid ran into the walk-in closet and just quickly moved the drape aside and ran inside. And I mean, and the door was just slamming open, shut.
Oh, that's creepy,
like,
man.
Multiple times, and I looked at the window thinking, oh, maybe it's a draft, and then I just panicked.
So
I just ran.
The burning sensation on your side, I just want to dig into that a little bit. When you say you felt that burning sensation, can you like describe it? Like, is it? Are we talking like it felt like someone touched you with like a like a curling iron, like something that like was gonna sizzle you, or was it like like one of the like heat pads? Like what was the level of that warmth that you felt?
When you're by a campfire and you get really close and you can feel that heat.
Yeah, where it's uncomfortable.
And if you stay too long, it'll burn you.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a weird.
And I felt it around my neck and my shoulder.
Oh, that's so weird. That is a weird place to get it, man.
I don't
like that.
Before,
it's like it was sniffing or breathing on you, like at your neck. I don't like that at all, man. Right? Yeah. It gives me the shivers, man. Any redness to you or on your skin or anything after you felt that you noticed?
I was too busy trying to cool down my whole body. It was just burning hot. Like after all of that, I was just like trying to cool down, and I that's the only thing that was on my mind. And seeing my mom shouting at the ghost that it's gonna make it clean if they don't stop.
Yeah.
My respect to my mom. I was like, wow.
Oh yeah, man, she's a G in the face of evil.
Yeah, she just stood up and she didn't think twice. Yeah.
That's it's such a wild one too, because I'm just like, during the day, the heat, like all this happening so close, and like, so you said you were having continuous, like, people have seen this like throughout the time you were in this house. I don't know if is some family member still in this house?
Well, it wasn't. We were renting,
okay.
And I remember the restroom. It had this yellow stain, like if you drag something. And I remember, it was the width of a person, but I don't know whatever happened. And I did live in the hood,
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened, but it all came from the restroom, because when my brother saw the entity, the guy with the hat, he also came from the restroom, and something happened in that restroom, and
Weird.
that's
yeah, so maybe it's maybe something awful happened there, and there's a tortured soul that's is not leaving.
And that walk-in closet was big, and I used to play hide and seek in there, but you would start getting scared, It was big, but for some reason it just had. You couldn't stay there for too long. It would just give you the creeps.
Yeah, that's terrifying, man.
Yeah.
So
but
nothing carried with you, like now, like there's you're not having issues with ghosts and kind of those kind of experiences still, or is this something that you're like attuned to?
No, it was just I think it was that house. That house was just we moved out, and everything is good. Once at some other place, I only happened once. I was with my girl at the time, and it just started moving the doorknob, and I went and checked, and there was nothing. But that didn't scare me.
Yeah.
This event, it's different.
Yeah, well, it sounds like that. What you experienced before with the heat and stuff like that sounds terrifying, because it sounds like whatever it was being aggressive, like, and its purpose was to, like, actually, like, make you fearful or try to harm you. It's wild encounter. Someone in the chat's asking, was it a pretty old house?
No, I wouldn't say.
Yeah, nothing like it wasn't like a heritage home from 1856 or anything like that.
No, but it wasn't a bad neighborhood though.
Yeah.
So I don't know if
wild, man. It's a terrifying. That's a terrifying account. How, like, do you think about it all the time? Like, how has it affected you? How has it affected your life?
Well, that's what got me into ghosts, and then that got me to UFOs and Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was the beginning of it.
Yeah, right on, man. Thank you so much for calling in and sharing that story. It is absolutely terrifying. So hopefully, if anyone's had a similar experience, because yours is very unique with the heat, hopefully they call in and share.
All right, man, and keep doing your show. I love it. It's my favorite one.
Good, man. Thank you so much for
listening. I show it to my kids, and I show it to my wife, and yeah.
Right on, man. Thank you so much.
All right, guys.
Take care of yourself.
You have a good one.
Bye. That's terrifying. I mean, when he talks about feeling that heat on his shoulder and his neck, I can't help but picture something like leaning in, like vampire style. Whew. Terrifying. But the lines are open. 1-833-703-0424. Just like that, we got another caller on the line. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, yeah, this is Marcia Jacoby. I'm calling from Wilmington, Ohio, and I'm supposed to tell you that I'm John Jacoby's mom.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do you got a story for us?
I do.
I love it. Good. How much on a daily basis does your son annoy you? That's my first question.
Very rarely. Very rarely.
Oh, my goodness. He seems like a ball breaker. Is he? Okay, that's good. We'll give him a break here then on the show. What do you got for us tonight?
Well, John wanted me to tell you the story about an encounter that I had. I was young. I was 18. I had my first child. I was living in Jamestown, Ohio. And I heard this really strange, low-pitched noise. So I'm by myself. You can imagine this.
Yep.
And I heard this really strange noise. And I looked out the window, and I'm not crazy. This is the truth. Outside, I saw something hovering, and very quick, it darted around, and then it just took off as fast as it came in, and it made this really weird sound. And I was like scared to death. But yes, that's in my encounter. I really have seen a UFO. So.
Okay, just some follow-up questions. Did this thing emit any light at all when you saw it?
Yes, it actually did. I could tell that it was disc shaped, and the bottom of it was it was a shiny surface, but you could see that there was various colors of light being emitted from the bottom. It looked like it was, spinning around. It wasn't like an airplane that was just flying around. It moved much faster, and it was too low to be some kind of a plane, and it was dark, so.
Yeah. So no helicopter noise, nothing like that.
No. There was no noise except for this sound that went. It was like that, like almost like a cartoon. Yes.
Yeah.
And I was so scared because, once again, like I said, I was young, and I thought, oh my God, because I've heard of people, hear these stories that they get abducted, and I'm like, I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's terrifying. Now, with that noise, I mean, when you kind of just describe it, you ever played with, and I'm just going to try to, when I picture in my head, I'm going to try to describe some if that's what it is. Do you remember those old, like, toner devices where it's like the old hearing test, and the people would turn up the dial, and you could hear that, like, woo, and, like, they could power that up?
That's it.
Is that kind of what it sounded like? Because that's interesting. Because I wonder, I've always kind of wonder if the acceleration does have a noise, if it would be tonal, like into some sort of high pitched frequency, right? So maybe you were just catching this thing powering up before it took off.
Yes.
So when you say it was spinning, like when you said it was hovering, was the disc actually spinning as well?
When I looked out, it was just like kind of just still.
Yeah.
And then it all of a sudden it like lifted up, and it, like I said, it was dark, and I really wasn't that far away from it. It was out of a little past my front yard, to tell you the truth. It appeared to be spinning, but when it took off, it just like lifted, just like I've never seen anything like it, really. I guess the closest thing that I would think of in today's world would be one of the drones that just take off straight up and go.
Yeah, and how long ago was this?
Oh gosh, 45 years ago.
Oh wow. Okay, so like we're we're not in the time of drones, so we can scratch that out right away.
Exactly. And, you know, back in when I was younger, if you told somebody this story, they would think you were crazy, because it was really unheard of to have anything like that, you know. And then this did not happen to me, but to my grandmother, who has passed. Her good friend was an elderly woman, and she was supposed to be coming to a meeting that we were having, and she was late when she got there. And I will explain, she was not a crazy lady. She got there and she said, "I'm sorry." She goes, "I got lost. I don't know what happened. All I know is I got lifted up into this saucer." And I'm just sitting there as a kid thinking, "You're crazy, lady." And she really honestly had a story of how they looked, and it's just like what I've seen on the news, you know, tall, lanky. And she said they just didn't hurt her, but she was dropped back in a place she didn't know where she was.
Oh, weird.
Now, you know,
is that in the same, like, is it the same town still that you saw this thing?
It was, that happened near Wilmington, where I live now. And then I lived in Jamestown, Ohio, which, I mean, and it kind of was going through my mind as well, is that Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is over in Dayton, you know, and I thought, well, I wonder, you know,
it's nicknamed Area 52, so.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's, I wondered, I just couldn't imagine what it was, other than, you know, I really haven't told too many people this story, because my husband, I told him I was going to talk to you, and he goes, "Are you really going to?" I said, "Well, heck yeah, I'm sure there's other people."
Oh, there was someone who called in with an abduction story earlier tonight. You are in the right place, and you are among friends when you tell these stories here. That's a fascinating UFO story. I love getting firsthand accounts of these things.
Yeah.
How has seeing that, how has it impacted your life since seeing something like that?
Yes, I'm a very, and this is getting off on a whole nother, you know, I'm very intuitive as far as, I don't want to say this. I can feel if there's someone around me that has passed. And I can feel things, and my grandma always told me that I had the gift, that the various people in the family. But anyways, having that and then seeing this UFO just made me very much more aware of my surroundings, and I do find myself looking up and wondering, and you know, and just try to either in my mind think, is that just a plane, or, you know. And then I've heard on shows that once you've ever encountered one, you're the one that mostly will see more than one in your lifetime. So, well, I wouldn't mind now that I'm older.
Yeah, like get some questions answered. One of the things I wanted to ask too is because some people say with these kind of sightings and stuff, sometimes they feel like a weird, almost like a mental connection to this thing, even briefly. Like there's some sort of conscious connection. Was there anything like that for you?
Other than I just couldn't stop staring at it, because I think I was in disbelief that me, of all people, why am I seeing this, you know? And it was right over a farm. And then I started thinking of the horror stories as, oh my gosh, I hope it's not gonna, you know, bother anything on the animals, or,
yeah, of course,
you know. But yeah, it was just, I don't know. I guess I felt kind of happy that of all people, I did get to see, and I could not. A lot of people can say that. So, but it is interesting, and I believe in UFOs. I do. I think anything that we don't know what it is an unidentified flying object. So, you know, but what I saw was not man-made. The way the shape of it was, you know, like I said, it was very sleek and fast. that was the thing. It disappeared, and like I said, it's almost cartoonish. I can still remember when it went up, just from like hovering still, went up real fast, and then that's when it made the sound, and it was like all I could see was like a light, just like a flash, and it was gone.
And it
was crazy.
And it's on one of the points you make. A lot of people who have shared their UFO stories with me, I've heard it accounted a bunch of times where they're just like, you can just tell it's not Mimit, but the way this thing moves, it is almost unnatural.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And it's so like out of the realm of anything that you've seen or experienced. And I've had pilots say that, and various other people who have captains on boats who have seen USOs under the water. So it is a very common theme that you see these things and you're just like, you can tell that it's different. Something's different about that. So it's so wild, and thank you so much for calling in with your firsthand experience, because I hope it triggers a lot of more people to want to come forward and share. We don't think you're crazy. There's stuff out there, so call in.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mama Jacoby. We love you, and we thank your son so much for having you connect us today.
Wow. Like I said, he's a great person, and I just love him, and I'm proud of him.
Yeah, the chat is blowing up. They're saying that you must have kept all the cool.
Oh.
So thank you so much for calling in.
So nice talking. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye. I love that call for many reasons. One, phenomenal UFO story, unbelievable. But do you have parents that have a story? Do you have parents that have had a weird experience? Do you listen to the show and go like, hey, my mom or my dad or my grandpa has seen something or has an experience? Get them to call in. I mean, lie, cheat, and steal. Get them to call in. I want to hear your parents' stories and your grandparents' stories as well. So we all have a grandparent or mom or dad who's seen something or has experience. So I want them to call in. Lines are open 1-833-703-0424. We'll take one or two more calls before we wrap this one up. So if you want to jump on the line. Other than that, though, listen, we're season 8 premiere. This episode's not going to be coming out till about April 4th. So leading up to that, we've got a whole bunch of pre-booked ads. We're going to be running social media ads, trying to get the cosmic word out there. So if you want to help support the show, you can head to streamlabs.com/cosmicchannels/tip. I think it's supposed to be tips, actually. Did I write that wrong? I think I did write it wrong. I think it's supposed to be tips. And you can leave a donation. Help the Cosmic Channels. This week, it's so much easier now that we're using this new Streamlabs. Thank you so much to John Jacoby, Invalid ID, and Bandito Frito for donating and keeping the Cosmic Channels alive. I saw there was a couple more right through the old ways of donating. So thank you to John Jacoby. 2 donations tonight. Listen, one for you, one for your mom. Thank you so much. So if we don't have a line, that's it. I'm going to end the Cosmic Channels tonight, and we're going to go right to the shareholders meeting, discuss some business, and just like that, the Cosmic lines are now closed. We'll see you all next week. Shareholders meeting. Yeah, I was having some audio issues at the beginning, but I think everyone's audio sounded good. I didn't hear anyone having any issues. Awesome calls tonight. Phenomenal. I love it. I've got a whole bunch in the bank. We got that incredible USO story from last week. We got John Jacoby's mom. Mama Jacoby, calling in. Phenomenal stuff. Awesome. If you're watching on Instagram Live, head over to our YouTube page, Facebook, or Twitch, or a Kick channel, because that's where you can continue the shareholder meeting. Other than that, it ends here. Guys, let's go over some business. First off, when I looked earlier today was looking like our biggest download day. Let's check if it beat it. Let's see. View podcast stats. This will probably be our biggest listen to day and the biggest single day downloads since we've begun. When it's all said and done at the end of the day, we're real close, and we've got 5 or 6 hours to go. So I think today I think I can call it and say that is in fact going to happen. The two things that I've got to fix on this, I don't know why. I set up all the music hotkeys with everyone last week, and the week before, and all my hotkeys disabled. So I was trying to manually do the music again. It was so annoying. I don't know why. How was the audio though? I was having audio issues. I wanted to make sure it was were all the callers kind of similar. Volume was some way too loud, too quiet. What are your thoughts on that? People in the chat. Hey, too late to call. Hey, 8-cent Jello, listen. One was real loud, the poop guy. Okay. Yeah, he kind of sounded loud to me too. That's all good though. I'll make sure he's quieter. Listen, 8-cent Jello, it's not too late. If you want to call in, you relate to the show, I will still take your call. 1-833-703-0424. I'm just going to pretend like it's we're still on the show. So if you want to call, the line's open, you can go ahead and call in, and we'll get your story of weird stuff and paranormal. Yes, you're in the right place. It's not too late to call. 1-833-703-0424. You can call in. Everyone else is about even. Perfect. I had an interesting audio issue that I've never encountered prior to the show beginning, where no matter the volume that I put, I was getting a low recording, which made me believe that it was going to be an issue for the live stream. So I kind of had to do some funky tweaks. But I'm going to pretend we're still in the show. We're going to go right to the caller. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, my name is Garrett. I'm calling from Vancouver Island, BC right now.
Garrett? Vancouver Island? Where
Yeah.
where are you okay to say where? North, south?
Yeah, I'm traveling around right now. Currently, I am at a small city in the north, kind of at the tip of the island. So,
like Port Hardy?
Yeah, around there.
Port McNeil?
Yeah.
Okay, listen to this. If you're I'm not going to say you're in Port McNeil. I'm not going to say anything. I'm in Campbell River, so I'm a little south from you.
Oh, cool.
If you are floating around there is a tale from Port McNeil, and I've never got to stay in Port McNeil. I've always kind of passed through. But if you're there for any kind of time,
Right.
there is in a book. It's called the UFO Case Book. There is an account that Port McNeil at one time built UFO landing pads.
No.
Yes. And it's written in this book.
What?
And I've gone there and I've kind of stopped at the gas station and stuff, and I've been like, hey, you guys still have those UFO landing pads? And it's been met with like, huh? What? But it's like written in this UFO case file book. So I'm always like intrigued when I go up there. I see people be like, hey, check out like, if you can find these goddamn UFO landing pads, like I want to see them so bad.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely look out for them. I haven't seen anything like that yet, but who knows, right?
Hold on. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to grab the book so I can read the passage to you so you have the information.
Yeah, totally.
Give me 1 second.
No, absolutely. Thanks.
put my headphones back on. All right. Okay. All right. Look at it. Port McNeil. Hold on. It's gonna be under P.
Yeah, P or M.
Okay, listen to this. Port McNeil, British Columbia, Canada. And I'm gonna hold it up so everyone can kind of see that there. Port McNeil, British Columbia, Canada. The Canadian government appears to have made several attempts to offer UFOs a means of identifying themselves, perhaps the most famous of which was the designation of 1,000 square miles of land over which aircraft were not permitted to fly in order that UFOs could land unmolested. The field is, in fact, seems to have been part of the inspiration for Major Donald E. Keyhole's suggestion Project Lure. A slightly less ambitious attempt was instigated by the Defense Ministry of Canada at Port McNeil, British Columbia, where landing pads were prepared for UFOs. Similar pads were also set up in St. Paul, Alberta. Unfortunately, such advances were stood up by the visitors. So it says that there's... Yeah, right? Isn't that... I'm like, this book is cited and sourced, and I'm like, I gotta find these. I gotta find these fucking landing pads in Port McNeil. So every time I am a drive-through, I usually stop somewhere else and I ask anyone. I go, "Hey, do you know about these landing pads?" So if you have any luck when you're up there asking people around, I want you to just let me know.
Absolutely, I'll start asking around. I'll take a look at some of the back roads around here. That sounds super interesting.
Yeah, I was like, there's got to be probably a sign or something like. You know, I don't think they would just tear it down.
Right. I haven't seen anything. That's so interesting.
Yeah. But Gary, what do you got for us tonight?
I got for you a story that I haven't shared before to really anybody except for an ex of mine about when I was tree planting in northern BC.
Ooh. Let's hear
Yeah. So I didn't have much to do a few years ago. I had just dropped out of university, so I decided to buy a one-way ticket pretty much to the middle of nowhere, BC, and start tree planting. It was pretty fun. I got there, and it was pretty much like a 4-hour drive from the nearest town was our camp. And then from there, it would be another anywhere between hour and 3-hour drive to where we actually planted the trees, right? So we were far off from any kind of civilization.
Yeah, you're out there.
Yeah, and I remember this one day. It was a few weeks in, and I wasn't sleep deprived or anything. I've always been very open to paranormal experiences. I've always loved the idea of supernatural, but I am very I'm very careful with kind of figuring out what's happening. You know, I like to make sure it's not something explainable first.
Yeah.
So I was in this big area that was logged. I was planting alone, and the rest of my group, you know, was in other places because we planted in these huge areas. So I had this huge logged area field with woods on every side, pretty much. And it sounds silly, and I swear it wasn't bad eyesight, but a few hundred meters away, there was this big stump that had been logged, that had been chopped right off. And I swear I saw a head sitting on it.
Ooh.
And it was really strange, and it looked like a head with kind of a really wide mouth. Kind of showing teeth, maybe smiling or something, and it seems really strange, but I got this really, really weird feeling, and then I looked up and I saw this, and I was kind of wondering, okay, is this my eye playing tricks on me? So I kind of walked towards it, and as I walked towards it, every time I get maybe 100 feet away, and I didn't have my phone on me or anything, because, you know, I'm out there, so I couldn't take a picture or anything, but every time I'd get maybe 100 feet away, it would just kind of fade into the background and disappear.
Weird, like some sort of fucking Cheshire cat.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it was like this disembodied head. It wasn't like I didn't see any blood or anything. It looked like it had this kind of maybe medium-length black hair and this wide mouth. And the thing is, it wasn't just from that angle. I planted all throughout that field today, and every time I was more than maybe 100 feet away from this thing, I would look up and it would be sitting there, what seemed to be facing me. So it wasn't something like sitting behind the stump that was causing it to look strange. It was just every single time. And so one time I tried walking towards it while keeping my eyes on it. And I got still about that 100-foot or so mark, and it kind of faded away again. And it was really strange. And at the end of the day, when I was leaving the block, I was walking away and I looked back and I could still see it there. And it just had this really, really eerie vibe around it. And my stomach kind of twisted. I felt a little sick. And then I planted there many days after that in that exact same field, and I never experienced another thing.
Oh, that's so terrifying. Because I was like, in my head, I was thinking like, listen, I'm a hunter and an outdoorsman. So like, I've been in the woods and I'm like glued to the tree line. And I'm like, I see something. There's something there. And then you walk and it's like, oh, it's the branches were tricking me. And I'm a huge wimp. Like, oh, that's for sure what it was. And then
no, exactly.
But this is like that wouldn't happen because you saw it from all different angles.
Oh my goodness, yeah, I saw it from all different angles, and I was on those blocks a lot. I could tell what branches looked like and stuff. And sometimes, some scary stuff, you do walk up to it and it is a branch sticking out at a weird angle or another stump behind it or something. But this was weird because I almost went fully around the thing. It was almost like a 360 I had to plant around this stump because it was kind of in the middle of the field. And no matter where I was, it was just there, and it was so strange. And every time I went up to the stump, there was not a rock on it, there was not a stick on it, it was just flat.
Yeah, that's that's so strange, because I'm like trying to picture, like, now did this, like, was it it didn't look like a wooden mask or anything, it looked like a human's face?
It looked as made out of flesh and blood as you and me, and that's what terrified me. It wasn't some kind of, you're right, it didn't look like a wooden mask or anything. It looked like a person's face. Now, it wasn't moving. It wasn't like lip syncing anything or talking or anything.
Well, it was moving in the sense that it was fixated on you.
Yeah, you're right. It was moving in the sense that no matter what angle I looked at it from, it seemed to be facing me. Like I could never see the back of the head or anything. It was really, really strange. And it's funny because I was just thinking about this the other day, and I've never done any research on it, right? Because I didn't assume anybody had experienced anything like it, right? But I looked it up the other day, and in kind of eastern Canada and like northern East United States area, I believe it's the Iroquois, have a legend of a floating head with black hair that's in the woods that has a very wide, toothy grin, and it eats people, apparently.
Well, I mean, listen, from your it sounds like that's what you saw, but I got the vibe when you were telling that story that like it was leading, like it kind of made me think that it was leading you towards it, because you're like, oh, what is that? But then at a point it would disappear. And what gives me what sends shivers down my spine is that I think maybe in my head what I think could possibly have happened is that you were fixated on that thing at that point, so it knew you were looking for it there. And I think maybe what had happened to your own luck is that when you get there and it disappears, like had you really scanned, maybe it was somewhere else, hoping that it could lure you closer out somewhere else, right? Like it's gone, and then you kind of look and you're like, hey, there it is.
That's such an interesting
theory,
yeah.
And because it knew the place where you knew it, and because like in the woods, it's sometimes hard, like if something's not giving you that the horizontal motion, like it doesn't really catch your eye, so you're really like, having to deer blend in fucking great, like, you know what I mean? So you have to be really fixated, right? So it's like if you're just kind of scanning and like, oh, that was weird, right? Like maybe this thing was waiting somewhere else for you, and maybe it was trying to lure you somewhere away, and it just knew every time you walked around that he's going to look here because it knew you saw it there, right? That's what it's giving me fucking shivers And I'm
no,
like,
you're giving me shivers. I don't like the fact that I think you're actually maybe right, you know?
Well, just when you say this thing like this head that eats people, and I'm like, man, I kind of got the vibe when you were telling the story that like it was trying to lure you somewhere. So I was kind of thrown off when it disappeared. But then I'm like, did it disappear, or did you just luck out and like not see it?
Did I not notice it show up somewhere else? Because the tree line behind it did have a very different feel, because it wasn't quite in the middle. It was kind of closer to one tree line.
Goodness.
And that tree line definitely had a different feel compared to all the other ones. I mean, pretty much no matter what the weather was, you know, we deal with storms out there, sun out there. It was just a lot, kind of almost, it sounds silly, but it was kind of darker than the other tree lines. It just seemed like a more thick woods than the other tree lines. And that's a tree line, you know, I didn't go into to pee or anything.
Like honestly, I've been hunting, and I'll come across ridge lines and go, and I just look at the next area I'm gonna go to, and I've gone, no, not going anywhere. Like sometimes you just get a feel in the woods. I don't know why. You just like I don't want to.
It's like I wonder if it's almost like a protective instinct from days past when we were in the woods more, you know?
Oh, 100%. You're like, I might die in that section, and I know it's safe behind me. I'm going back.
Yeah. I appreciate you taking my call, by the way. I know it's kind of after the call time.
No, of course.
Dude,
I love getting the calls, and I said early on, I kind of end the live stream, but I don't really end it. I just after I kind of end it, I give people opportunities to kind of shape how we change the show and stuff. But if there's people who can't call, the calls are the show, so I always take the call. So don't feel bad. I really appreciate you calling in and sharing that absolutely terrifying story. Because now, are you still up there? Are you still up there in the woods?
I'm not up there anymore. It was a little bit ago, but it really stuck with me.
Can you tell me the nearest town?
The nearest town to us probably would have been Prince George or Quesnel.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I know the area. Like it's dense.
Yeah,
it's
so we were about kind of 4 hours north a little bit.
Yeah, man, it's terrifying. That's absolutely that's nightmare fuel for me. Like it's given me nonstop shivers thinking of this just watching.
Yeah, I thought it was terrifying when it happened, and then I thought it was a little silly because it's like, oh, maybe maybe something happened that day that I just, maybe I ate something bad or something. Yeah. But then I like I said a few weeks ago, and this is, like a few years after it's happened, I looked it up to see if there's anything similar to it, and it's crazy that somewhere in eastern Canada there is a group of people that believe in these floating heads with black hair, with wide mouths, that do things like scare you away or lure you into the woods and eat you. And I was like, it's almost an exact description of what I saw, which gave me the biggest set of goosebumps I've ever had.
Yeah, they're called flying heads. Yeah,
it's
a ravenous spirit. It goes by big head, mohawk, and a whole bunch of different names that I'm not even going to try to pronounce. You can look it up if you're interested. If you're listening to this, they're called flying head. And people are asking, any smell in the forest? Any did you notice any weird scents while this was happening? Anything else out of the norm?
I wouldn't say outside of the norm. You do pick up on some weird stuff. I mean, you're in places that nobody's been except for the loggers, pretty much. You know what I mean? These forests were untouched until a bunch of logging companies came and chopped down all the woods, and then you're just there to replant stuff. So it's definitely, it's strange because you run into bears a lot out there, and I ran into bears, but never did any of them give me the feeling that seeing that head did, and it was just weird, man.
This is this is not comforting at all. Because I was just clicking through and looking at different links of this thing, and one of the tales is it leads you, and it's always a little bigger.
Really?
So you're like, oh, there it is. And you're like, oh, that's a little bigger. What the hell? And then,
no, I don't like that.
No, me neither. Then all of a sudden you turn around, there's a giant head that just devours you. Any bones or anything in the area?
That is terrifying. Sorry?
Did you see any bones or anything?
Not human bones. Actually, in that area, I did find quite a lot of animal bones compared to... I don't know if it's just from you know, like natural things decaying, but
Yeah.
that area I found more animal bones than any other area I tree planted. I mean, I found the jaws of like what looked like elk and moose, and what somebody else who was planting with me in a very similar area found like fox skeletons and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely creepy. I'm not sure. I like just because you had that experience there. I'm like, fuck. Is there a connection to that? But it's just, dude, that is an absolutely terrifying story, man. Like, honestly, terrifying. I'm gonna have to watch a comedy now or something after listening to this.
No, exactly. And it's like I've dealt with some, you know, paranormal stuff earlier in my life. You know, haunted houses, creaky doors, shadows, and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is one of the few things that have happened to me where I can't explain it, and I know that I was of right mind, and I know that I was there, and I saw what I saw, and it wasn't like a trick of the light or something, because it happened so many times. I mean, I was out there planning for I was probably out there planning for like 10 hours, and I'm saying like it was there like a little bit into when I was planting all the way until I left.
How long was this thing watching you?
That's hard to say. I was on that block. I'm trying to remember how long I worked that day, because when you're a tree planter, if the block is far away, it'll take 4 hours to drive there, 4 hours to drive back, and so you only get 4 hours of planning time because our day is kind of 12 hours long.
Yeah.
But if it's like 15 minutes away, then you get almost 12 hours of planning time. I think that one was kind of halfway in between. I might have had anywhere between 6 and 10 hours of planning. Let's call it 8, and I'd say that probably 6, if not all 8 of those hours were spent in that in those trenches in
its hunting ground.
Yeah, in my hunting ground. I'm honestly glad I didn't look any harder into those woods.
Oh no, dude, that is terrifying. And like after reading this, I'm like, I feel like yeah, dude. I'm looking at some of the Iroquois like folklore masks they make of these things, and it's exactly what I pictured in my head. You describing. So I'm like, that's
wow.
Yeah, I'm like, this is so freaky. So
yeah, that is wild. It was so weird to me too, because a few weeks ago I was like, there's no way I'm going to get a Google search result for disembodied head in Canadian forest that isn't from a murder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just it's strange. I tell you, life is full of weird stuff. I mean, the shadows and the shadows and things moving a little bit on their own I can deal with, but when a disembodied head is smiling at me for 8 hours, it drives you a little nuts.
That is terrifying. Thank you so much for calling in with that
of course.
story.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely awesome. And if you're ever down in the Campbell River Way, shoot me a message. Maybe we'll link up for a beer.
Yeah.
Look over some pictures.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds great. Well, you have a wonderful show. I just kind of got into it, and I appreciate what you're doing. So have a wonderful night.
Hey, how'd you find it before you go?
Somebody left a comment. I grew up South Island, and I'm part of a group called it's like Old Haunted Victoria or something.
Yeah, that's me. I left a comment being like, "This is a good show."
Oh, you left the comment.
Yeah, buddy.
So funny.
You gotta grind. You gotta grind to get those listeners.
No, exactly. No, I get it. Right? It's all about that advertising.
Yeah.
No,
I'm glad it worked. I'm glad
so yeah,
someone
it was that comment. It's working.
Right on.
Your marketing is going good.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, me and there's someone in the chat, Invalid, commented on my post being like, "This is great." Another listener of the show. So yeah, awesome. That's funny. Thank you so much for calling in, and have yourself a good night. Stay the hell out of those woods, man.
Yeah, of course. Have a great night. Thank you, man. Bye.
Take care. Oh my God. That's why we keep the lines open the whole time, because you never know when you're gonna get fucking terrifying shit like that. Oh my God. Terrifying. Absolutely wild. Great call to fish tonight. We got one more. If someone else got a call, let's take it. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Braden, I would like to stay unanimous, and I have a theory I would like to tell you.
All right, let's hear the theory. What's going on?
Well, you know how the moon rotates around the sun at a perfectly, it stays the exact same all the time.
Yeah, tidal lock?
There's another...
Wait, hold on. Did you say moon goes around the sun?
No, the moon goes around the Earth.
Yeah,
Sorry.
tidal lock. Yeah, it's called tidal lock. Yeah.
But I want to stay unanimous.
Yeah, I didn't say your name.
Okay.
You can stay unanimous.
What if there's another Earth behind the moon that we can't see all the time, but
Clarion.
Scientists know about it, and it constantly stays behind the moon.
Yeah, it's called Clarion.
And
it's for the Clarion. There's polka dancing aliens from a planet Clarion that's perfectly just behind the moon at all times.
Yeah, and I also think the Great Flood happened because the magnetic field switched and it raised the water levels up. So
maybe.
Yeah,
hey, thanks for giving your mom. Thanks for getting your mom to call it. That was a great.
Listen,
call.
I want to stay unanimous. Okay.
Oh, I mean, sorry. I wanted to just, while you're on the line, I wanted to give a shout out to a listener who got his mom to call.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a good call.
That's cool.
Anyways, I gotta end this one. So before I go, I'll just suck it. That being said, gonna move to Discord. I'm gonna wrap this one up. I gotta eat dinner, and I got my baby's first birthday tomorrow. How crazy is that? It's already been a calendar year, so I've got to blow up balloons and tie party favors. If you got funky glasses to send me, just hit me up on Discord or shoot me an email. I'll send you that address. I like them real small or I like them real funky. You guys know me. Send them my way. I love it. That being said, I'm really excited to get going on start editing season 8. It's not going to come out till April 4th because I've got a couple in the bank with season 7, and I think I'm going to always end the seasons with an episode with all the fan read submissions and an episode that's just kind of a collection of the best calls. And not all the best calls, just an hour and a half worth of the best calls compiled into one episode. That being said, if you're on the list to have fan submissions read, I am just about fresh out, so I'll be sending a batch of stories probably tomorrow night or Saturday. So if you want to read a fan submission and you haven't already shot me a message, do so, and I will make sure to get it to you ASAP because I'm going to need them in the coming weeks. So peace, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to Cosmic Channels. Thank you so much for supporting the show. We wouldn't be here without you guys, especially those people who are donating to the show. John Jacoby, Invalid, Bandito, Julissa's always donating, Chango, Hillbilly. Love it. Thank you guys so much. And stickers are coming. Stickers are coming. So don't worry. Let me just check where we left off on those to give you a little update here. Before I say too much, I don't want to be. Silver Lotus is currently, I think she's making them up. She's getting them all ready. So we're gonna have stickers soon. So if you wanted a Cosmic Channel sticker, we're gonna have them available. And we got tons more fan art. So I'm gonna be putting shirts together. So peace, everybody. Got any tips or things you think should be changed? Shoot me a message on email or on Discord. That's the best place. And Garrett, that book is called The UFO Encyclopedia, compiled and edited by John Spencer. So peace out, everybody.